My Dearest Self, with Malice Afterthought, is
Oh,
a dark psychology thriller that explores the
I thought you
themes of
said pronounced it.
identity, trauma, manipulation, and the depths of human malice. It centers on Iji Urashima, a seemingly ordinary universal student who slowly realizes that his life is far more complex and far more horrifying than he could ever imagine. The story kicks off with E.G. living an ordinary life but experiencing blackouts. He wakes up in his house with no recollection of how he got there and soon learns from a girl he doesn't remember that they've been dating. E.G. begins to unravel disturbing truths about his past and his true nature as he confronts a hidden personality named B1. The crux of the manga revolves around the psychological warfare between these two personas, inhabiting the same body with E.G. trying to assert his identity over B1, who appears to be a cold blooded killer. As E.G. investigates further, he uncovers a disturbing family secret, tying into a string of brutal murders, many of which are tied back to his father, a notorious killer known as the LL Murderer. The plot becomes an intense battle of mind games with EG and the contending B1 for controlling over his body, memory, and choice, while they are drawn into a web of manipulation, conspiracy, and violence. At the core of the manga is the theme of duality. EG versus B1, innocence versus malice, normancy versus chaos. EG struggles with his identity and the way he is controlled by an inner darkness that he barely comprehends. Reflects the terrifying idea that we all harbor darker and more violent urges beneath the surface. This is exemplified through his blackouts where B1 takes control, creating a dissonance between EG's conscious self and his actions. EG's fractured identity is tied to the traumatic events from his past, particularly linked to his father's crimes. This suggests that trauma, especially in childhood, can create visions within a person's psyche, leading to repression and the formation of alternative personalities as a defense mechanism. The revelation that B1 exists partially to cope with the terror and abuse E.G. faced as a child adds layers to the story, questioning how much of our darker side is formed by the scars of our upbringing. The psychological manipulation between EG and B1 extends beyond just a external conflict. As EG dwells deeper, he discovers that almost everyone around him has been manipulating him in some way. From his friends to his girlfriend, the manga plays with power dynamics constantly, showing how easily people can be controlled and how distorted reality can become when deception is in play. The LL Murderer connection plays a crucial role in shaping E.G.'s psychological scars. His stepfather, who was the true LL murderer, used E.G.'s real father as the scapegoat, creating a false legacy that haunts E.G. This twist raises compelling nature versus nurture questions. Can someone break free from the darkness imposed by those around them, or are they bound by the sins of others? The LL murderer's influence casts a shadow over Ichi's life, suggesting that his inner turmoil may not stem from his own bloodline, but from the twisted machinations of his stepfather. B1, while malevolent, isn't just a mindless killer. He represents the repressed side of Ig, the part that desires freedom, revenge, and the ability to survive in a brutal world. There's a compelling ambiguity to B1. Is he necessary evil or total corruption of Ichi's soul? His calculated violence and manipulation demonstrates how cruelty can become a tool for self-preservation, highlighting the moral gray areas that the manga often threads into. The manga doesn't shy away from graphic violence, but the killing serves as more than just shock value. They're deeply tied to psychological catharsis. Each act of violence, especially the one B1 commits, is a way for Iji to vent his repressing rage and frustration. This idea is unsettling as it suggests that beneath our civilized veneer, all have a desire for chaos and destruction, even if we don't consciously acknowledge it. Ichi's girlfriend initially appears as a kind, supportive figure, but she's later revealed to have her own twisted motives. This betrayal hits hard, reinforcing the theme of manipulation and making Ichi's eternal battle even more intense. Trust, loyalty, and love are all fragile concepts in this story, constantly wrapped by hidden agendas. Throughout the manga, mirrors are a recurring symbol representing Ichi's fractured sense of self. Every time he looks at his mirror, it serves as a reminder that he truly doesn't know who he is anymore. And he's haunted by the possibility that B1 might be the real him. But overall, My Dearest Self with Malice Afterthought is a masterclass in psychological horror and mystery. The plot twist, especially the deep internal conflict between Ig and B1, creates a gripping narrative about identity, trauma, and moral ambiguity. The manga doesn't offer easy answers, rather it forces the reader to question the nature of self, the possibility of redemption, and whether evil is something inherited or learned. The constant manipulation, betrayals, and graphic depictions of violence makes it a disturbing yet provoking journey into the human psyche. But now, this is like one of my new favorite mangas to read, as I had a real great time reading this, and I'll see y'all later.